This is a big turning point in the Israel-Hamas war. In a big declaration, the Israeli Defense Forces said Hamas has lost control of the Gaza Strip. It has ruled for 16 years. Further added that terrorists are fleeing down south and civilians are looting Hamas bases. Not just this, IDF shared a historic photo on Monday showing the Israeli flag inside the Hamas Parliament building in Gaza. In the picture, the team of soldiers can be seen waving Israeli flags in the terrorist organization's Legislative Council building. Calling it an extraordinary achievement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that if Hamas is not finished, they will return. Also added that it is not an operation but a war to the end. Meanwhile, the military wing of the Palestinian terrorist group Hamas has informed that they are prepared to release around 70 women and children currently held in Gaza. This offer is contingent on the condition that a 5-day truce is established.
An extraordinary achievement, truly amazing. There are no words. I think that what you have done here, you simply decided the battle here. Men and women soldiers, with daring and extraordinary resourcefulness. Well done. This says a lot. To turn the tide from the worst situation imaginable. This says a lot. This is also what we are doing now, with the forces that are inside. This is neither an operation nor a round, but a war to the end. It is important to me that you know this. This is not lip service, but from the heart and mind. If we do not finish them, it will come back.
Continues to strike Gaza. My colleague Pooja will explain the ground operation being carried out by the Israeli Defense Forces. Take a look.
India Today's team has prepared this map for you to help you understand what you're looking at, these visuals on the ground. How does it look like as an illustration on the map? So in green, this is the Gaza Strip. This is from where the Hamas terrorists had come into Israel on 7th October and now the ground invasion and the ground offensive that's happening. So this is the strip. Mainly the ground offensive is in this area, which is the northern belt of the Gaza Strip. This yellow is Israeli ground forces where they have managed to take control in these areas. The pink that you see is primarily the focus where the advances of the Israeli Defense Forces are taking place. Bet Leah, these are the areas in North Gaza where the main war, so to say, is happening, not in the southern part. Al-Shifa Hospital has been, of course, the center of the flashpoint. Many Palestinians have said that the hospital is being targeted, while IDF says there is a Hamas operation that is primarily based underneath in these tunnels, and they're using patients as human shields to ensure IDF does not target. Currently, this is the area where the IDF has taken massive control, including that of the parliament. This blue strip that you see is Salah al-Din. This is the humanitarian corridor that Israel has decided. So even though, of course, it's tragic that many Palestinians have to flee from north towards south, and there also casualties have taken place, but this is nevertheless with a white flag. Many of these have been able to use this corridor to safely move towards the southern part so that the IDF can ensure that Hamas is eradicated with the control from the northern belt. So this is the temporary corridor area. This is the Rafah crossing with Egypt, and these are the humanitarian zones. So no war, no attacks by IDF, no precision strikes are taking place on this side, but this area is where currently all the altercation is. Of course, remember, there are appeals to ceasefire, stop the war, to ensure no casualties take place. But currently, the focus here will be one for the hostages and whether the world can come together to ensure that Hamas terror ends. And then Israel, what happens next with the war? Can it come to an end here in the northern belt itself and does not escalate?
A Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan is getting us more details on that big story. Geeta, just put this into perspective. It's almost 40 days into war. What does it really look like? Is this, in fact, the closest that Israel really has come, to, in fact, taking full control over the Gaza Strip?
Well, nearly as close as the IDF can. They have we have visuals and photographs of the IDF in the Gaza Parliament. So Sneha, this is a big movement for the IDF. Having said that, the visuals that have come out are also of hospitals under which tunnels exist. The whole of Gaza has tunnels under civilian establishments, buildings, residential areas, hospitals also being one of them, and the Israeli forces now showing how those tunnels were areas where weapons were stashed and the movement of Hamas took place, and that they were using these hospitals as human shields. Having said that, there is still a lot of concern, and all this is coming because of the concerns of international community with regards to the civilian casualty and the conversations around proportionality. Should so many civilians have been killed to take on the Hamas or as retaliation for the October 7th attacks? And because the conversations were growing with regards to civilian casualty, we're now seeing Israeli forces put out why is it that they bombed or they attacked the hospitals, and the fact that they maintain that Hamas did use and uses these civilian establishments as human shields to protect their own interests. For now, it seems like this war is not going to come to an end till Israel sees the end of Hamas, so that there is no recurrence of the October 7th attack. But how long will it continue? How much of casualty and loss would the Palestinians in Gaza suffer is a question that the international community continues to ask. The United Nations and many such organizations working in Gaza are highly critical of the fact that that there have been so many losses of life.
Absolutely. Geeta, one just can't turn away from the humanitarian crisis that we're seeing really unfold before us. Even if there's control, after almost 15 or 16 years, we have to in fact factor in that, the casualties on this side also, and the crisis, the medical and the humanitarian crisis, and the burden of which is huge in this region, isn't it?
Absolutely, Sneha. Also, on that front, given the fact that the electricity lines, water supply, food, all of that was cut off, particularly electricity for hospitals that have neonatal care facilities, incubators required electricity. Now we hear the Israeli forces come out and really talk about the assistance that it's providing to the Al-Shifa hospital and incubators that have been sent. So they are trying to ensure that the image that has been tarnished with regards to the ruthlessness that people speak of with regards to all the electricity lines and food supplies, water supplies being cut off. Now we see Israel talking about incubators being sent and basic facilities being provided to the hospital. Having said that, how much of it will really translate into saving lives and babies who are in neonatal care in Gazan hospitals is something we'll again have to wait and see. Israel also saying that many of the hospitals have refused to take help from Israel.
All right, Geeta, I'm just going to come back to you in a moment from now. Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs editor, tracking that story very closely, and this, remember, is an important turning point with the declaration coming in from the idea that they have in fact indeed managed to take complete control of Gaza, as what has been said. Israeli troops, of course, have encircled Gaza. So how does it really look like? This is the invasion by Israeli troops, almost 40 days into the war. Large groups of armored vehicles are essentially, that is what is being seen in the entire region. So the entire strip is being taken control by the Israeli Defense Forces. Apart from this, we also have Israeli armored vehicles in different other points in this particular region. Large groups of armored vehicles. Also, invasion by Israeli troops, lines of armored vehicles seen on major roads in this particular region. So this is how the entire encircling of Gaza Strip has taken place more than 39 days into the war in this particular region. This declaration is coming from the defense forces, and the humanitarian crisis, of course, is only in fact increasing. In fact, war between Israel and Hamas, the Israel Defense Forces has released a 6-minute long video where it claims to expose the tactics of the Hamas. The video shows the tunnel that exits into Gaza's Rantisi hospital. According to IDF, these tunnels are being used by Hamas terrorists to hide, operate and hold Israeli hostages against their will. Meanwhile, Israeli forces continue to pound Gaza. IDF attacked Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City, forcing hundreds to flee. IDF units also ran into an ambush and came under fire while operating near Al-Quds hospital. On the other hand, US President Joe Biden and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak have said that hospitals in Gaza must be protected to save innocent lives.
An operational tunnel. The tunnel is built with electricity. We first saw the solar panels, then the electricity goes here, and it goes down directly to the tunnel. Now you can see the tunnel. You can see the tunnel. The tunnel is let down more than 20 meters down. The rowboat found a door that is bulletproof, it's explosives proof, so it looks like a hard evidence, a clear evidence that the hospital direction is connected. We're now entering into the area of the hospital where we had found the evidence. This operation was conducted by Israeli Special Unit, the Israeli Navy SEALs. I want you to understand, this kind of gear is a gear for a major fight. These are explosives. These are vests with explosives. A woman, clothes, and a rope. A rope next to the legs. And look above this. Look above it. It's a baby bottle. It's a baby bottle in a basement. Above a World Health Organization sign. This is a suspicion for an area where hostages were being held. There is a list. This list, in Arabic, this list says we are in an operation. The operation against Israel started in the 7th of October. This is a Guardian list where every terrorist writes his name and every terrorist has his own shift guarding the people that were here.
I went to the hospital with a video camera and personally documented more concrete evidence. The concrete evidence are that Hamas uses hospitals as an instrument of war. Underneath the hospital, in the basement, we found a Hamas command and control center, suicide bomb vests, grenades, AK-47 assault rifles, explosive devices, RPGs and other weapons, computers, money, etc. And we also found signs that indicate that Hamas held hostages here.
I have not been reluctant in expressing my concerns what's going on. And it's my hope and expectation that there will be less intrusive action relative to the hospital. We're in contact and we're with the Israelis. Also, there's an effort to take this pause to deal with the release of prisoners. And that's being negotiated as well with the Qataris that are engaged. And so I remain somewhat hopeful, but the hospital must be protected.
Israel must be able to defend itself against terror, restore its security, and bring the hostages home. But there are many things that Israel must do as part of its response. We've been clear that they must act within international law. They must take all measures to protect innocent civilians, including at hospitals, stop extremist violence in the West Bank, and allow more aid into Gaza. Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority, described to me the terrible suffering of the Palestinian people. Too many civilians are losing their lives. That's why I've doubled our aid to Gaza and why we continue to press, both at the United Nations and directly with Israel, for unhindered humanitarian access and urgent and substantive humanitarian pauses.
At night, we were sheltering in God's safety in Al-Shifa, a safe area. The maternity ward was shelled, and I was scared for my family, the young ones. You can see the elderly. There were a lot of strikes, shells, and bombs, even next to the Al-Shifa. Al-Shifa is a dangerous place.